Welcome to Soy Tech Info channel, my dear students. In this tutorial, I'll be discussing about the chemical equilibrium. So this is the second part of our series. See, there are two types of equilibrium based on the phases: homogeneous equilibrium and heterogeneous equilibrium. In homogeneous equilibrium, the reactants and products are of same phase. Homo means same. So the reactants as well as products, both of them will be in the same phase. For example, let us consider formation of ammonia. Here we have nitrogen in the gaseous phase, hydrogen that is also in the gaseous phase. Now, in the presence of a suitable catalyst, when it is forming ammonia, that is also in the gaseous phase. So, 3 moles of hydrogen, 2 moles of ammonia. So, all of them are in the gaseous phase only. So this equilibrium is called homogeneous equilibrium. Similarly, hydrolysis of ester. Let us have ester. What do you mean by ester? Let us consider CH3, COO, C2H5, ethyl acetate. It's in the liquid form. When it is hydrolyzed in presence of an acid, that is also in the liquid form. Now it becomes, you have to put this equilibrium arrow, CH3 COOH, that is acetic acid in the liquid form or aqueous form, plus, and what about the other one, alcohol, so C2H5 OH. So this is also in the liquid form. So all are in the liquid form. And that is why this is also a very good example of homogeneous equilibria. Now let us move the KP-Kc of formation of hydrogen, that is also a homogeneous equilibrium. Why? Because hydrogen, it is in the gaseous state, iodine vapor, and then here this is also in the gaseous state. Now when we calculate the Kc according to law of mass action, we take the concentration of the product raised to the power 2 Hi whole squared, and this square bracket represents active mass, whole divided by the concentration of H2 into concentration of I2. Now, since they are gases, we can interpret the equilibrium constant based on partial pressure also, and that is represented as Kp. So Kc is based on the concentration, whereas Kp is based on the partial pressure. So pressure, that is given in the unit Pascal, volume in cubic meter, temperature Kelvin. Kp is equal to, instead of molar concentration, the concentration term or the active mass, since it is based on the partial pressure, we can introduce the partial pressure term. So Phi squared. Are you able to understand? The same thing. Similarly, pH2, partial pressure of hydrogen, partial pressure of iodine. Now, we know already, according to ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT, where P pressure, V volume, N number of moles, or gas constant, T temperature, that is given in Kelvin. Now we can rearrange this equation so that we can get P is equal to N by V. We can bring this V to the denominator on the right side. Then into RT. Now number of moles divided by volume, that is nothing but concentration, is it not? So if I want to interpret the partial pressure in terms of pH2, then it can be represented as NH2 divided by V, where this number of moles divided by V is nothing but the mole concentration, that is active moles of H2. So that we can comfortably replace this. Now we can get pH2 is equal to, instead of NH2 by V, we can write H2 into RT. So similarly for this PHI, so PHI is nothing but HI into RT. So if it is a squared means that is also squared, is it not? So similarly we can have iodine. So Pi2 means that is I2 concentration into RT. So we have suitably substituted based on these relations. Now we get RT squares can be cancelled. Here this term is nothing but Kc. Therefore we have shown that Kp is equal to Kc in the case of formation of HI. Do you understand this? Right. Now let us move to the next concept. The relationship between Kp and Kc in a generalistic approach. So we have seen here for a specific reaction. Now let me generalize this. In this case, we have the Kp and the Kc term we are going to relate in a general format. So let me consider X moles of A, that is the molar coefficient of A. Y moles of B, they react in an equilibrium to give L moles of the product C and M moles of the product D. Therefore, we can write Kc is equal to C power L, D power M divided by A power X and the concentration of B power Y. And we can also write Kp here. What is Kp? Which is nothing but P power, that is Pc power L we can put, and then Pd power M. Do you understand? Divided by Pa power X, then Pb power Y. We know already that is P is represented as what? For instance, if it is a Pc, I can write Pc is equal to, that is the concentration of C into RT. So in that case, this is whole power. So I can put power L means C power L, RT whole power L. So similarly, we can write all this. That is Pd power M is nothing but D concentration power M, and here RT power M. Similarly, Pa power X is equal to A concentration power X, and then RT power X. And similarly, Pb constant power Y, that is nothing but B power Y into RT whole power Y. Do you understand? Now we can incorporate these terms here. Therefore, Kc, Kp, so we can write here, we can incorporate here. So Kp is equal to, what is Kp? Instead of Pc power L, we can put this. So C power L and into RT. So let me isolate and write. So RT whole power L. And then Pd. So instead of Pd, I can put D power M into RT. Is it not? So D power M into RT. So into RT whole power m, is it not? So similarly here, that is a power, what is that, x into RT power whole power x, and here b power y, and here RT whole power y. We know a power m into a power n is equal to a power m plus n, is it not? And similarly a power m divided by a power n is equal to a power m minus n. So we can apply this algebraic expression. Therefore we are able to get Kp is equal to, and we know very well this term is nothing but Kc. So we can suitably replace this by Kc into, and RT is common, we can take RT whole power, what about this, L plus m, and this one x plus y, when it goes up minus x plus y, so we can put minus x plus y. Okay, so here, that is this is the total number of moles of product minus total number of moles of reactant, which is nothing but that is change in number of moles. We can simply put by delta n, is it not? So L plus, take down, so this term, this is equal to delta n. So we can suitably replace and finally arrive at the equation as Kp is equal to Kc into RT whole power delta n. So this is a very important equation. Do you understand? Now we can apply this in the previous case also. So we discussed about the formation of hydrogen iodide. Let us try to involve this equation. Here let me rewrite H2 gas plus I2 gas gives 2Hi gas. So this is all in vapor stage, that is gaseous state. So for which, what is delta n? Delta n is nothing but sum of number of moles of gaseous product minus sum of number of moles of gaseous reactant. So in that case, we can take this 2, and what about this 1 plus 1, 2, that is 0. So delta n is equal to 0. Now we can apply our equation. Kp is equal to Kc into RT whole power delta n. So in this case, delta n is equal to 0, and RT whole power 0, anything power 0 is equal to 1. Therefore Kp is equal to Kc, hence a proof. Okay, so likewise we can establish we can find out the relationship between Kp and Kc, whether Kp is greater than Kc, or Kc is greater than Kp, or Kp and Kc are equal. So for various examples you can work out. Okay, right. Now heterogeneous equilibrium. It is a system that has more than one phase. In the case of water, that is getting evaporated, so it becomes vapor, that is gas. So in this case, liquid, and this is gas. So there are two different phases. So it is a heterogeneous equilibrium. And what about this one? Calcium hydroxide, when it is treated with water, it becomes calcium ion and a hydroxide ion. So this is solid, whereas these are all in aqueous form. It means there are two distinct phases. So that is why this equilibrium is also a heterogeneous equilibrium. Let us consider the thermal dissociation of calcium carbonate. can you identify whether it is a homogeneous or heterogeneous? Obviously, it is heterogeneous. Why? Because you have calcium carbonate in the solid form, calcium oxide in the solid form, and carbon dioxide in the gaseous form. And that is why in thermodynamics, particularly in chemical equilibrium, you are supposed to represent the reactants as well as products with the physical states in order to arrive at certain conclusions. Now, let us work out the equilibrium constant based on the concentration for the above reaction. So, here Kc is equal to calcium oxide concentration, but it's in the solid form. Then carbon dioxide in the gaseous form, for which the concentration is to be determined, divided by the solid form of a calcium carbonate and its concentration. But you must remember one important thing, that is active mass of any solid and even water taken as unity. That is one. That is constant. So you can remove this and we have got only carbon dioxide. So it means this equilibrium constant is based on the concentration of carbon dioxide only. Similarly, we can work out the Kp for this, which is nothing but the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. I hope now it is very clear for you. Let us move to the next concept. The units of equilibrium constant. Let it be in terms of Kc or Kp. So if it is in Kp, the concentration terms are represented in mole per liter. If it is in Kp, then Pascal. Let us consider the formation of a hydrogen iodide. So here there is no unit at all, because this 2 moles of means that is mole per liter squared, and this is also mole per liter squared, so can be cancelled, so no unit, it's dimensionless for formation of Hi. But in the case of N2O4 to become 2NO2, in that case, now let us work out NO2 whole square divided by N2O4. So here mole per liter whole square divided by mole per liter, whereas mole square liters power minus 2 divided by mole per liter. So you get only mole per liter. So it means based on the equilibrium it changes. And similarly for the partial pressure, it gives only partial pressure. Okay? Right. Next, let us consider the formation of nickel carbonyl from the solid nickel and 4 moles of carbon monoxide gas. So let us work out the Kc for this. So nickel carbonyl and its concentration divided by CO power 4. We know the nickel carbonyl, that is the gas, and what about this? This is also gas, but in the case of nickel solid, the activity is 1. Therefore, that is, you have to say Kc is equal to the concentration of nickel carbonyl divided by CO power 4 only. You cannot include this. Next, in the case of silver oxide combining with nitric acid to form silver nitrate, so this is also an heterogeneous equilibrium where Ag2O is solid and for water it is taken unity. Therefore, you have to consider HNO3 and AgNO3 only. So Kc for this is AgNO3, that is concentration squared divided by concentration squared of HNO3. So this is the equation. Okay, so you should be able to determine the Kc based on the, that is phases. So here you have to eliminate the you cannot exclude all the liquid, but for water the concentration is taken as unity. Okay, then being a solvent. And now let us try to understand the applications of equilibrium constants. See, these are applicable when concentration of products and reactants attain constant value at equilibrium. That is very, very important. And K, that is equilibrium constant, is independent of initial concentration of the reactant and product. So you must remember this. Then the equilibrium constant is temperature dependent. So it depends on the temperature of the reaction. And K of a reverse of a reverse reaction is equal to the inverse of the forward reaction. So that we have mentioned here. Okay, so we have mentioned here. For instance, if you have got a C plus D gives A plus B, means that is the reverse reaction. So it is a reciprocal of Kc. Okay, then we can predict the similarly, that is, if any reaction, for instance, let me consider N. So the entire reaction is multiplied by the molar coefficient N here. So in that case, what could be the value of Kc? It should be taken into the power. So you can call it a Kc whole power N for the resultant reaction. Remember this. Then we can predict the extent, to what extent the reaction can proceed based on the magnitude. And similarly, we can predict the direction, in which direction the reaction is progressing. Then we can calculate the equilibrium concentrations also. So these are the major applications of equilibrium constants. I hope you should have enjoyed this video. Please be serious when you attend any lectures. Take down the notes compulsorily. You cannot just watch a video like a movie. Okay, so these are all educational videos. So take down important notes. You can pause and play wherever you require. Okay, right. So thank you very much for watching this video.